It's educating and exciting, solution-driven show. Welcome to Youth Engage.
Youth Engage, showing on Salvation TV.
Hello, my name is Mark Miracle, and it's an awesome privilege again to welcome you on today's episode of Youth Engage on Salvation TV. Today we are talking about a very wonderful topic, and it is maximizing the youth age. And we have a father figure in the house to talk about this very wonderful topic. But before you see him in person, I did go into the streets to ask a few questions about the youth, and you want to see this short clip. Please do stay engaged.
Welcome to
Youth Engage, showing on Salvation TV.
We are talking about maximizing the youth age. How fair and how well are you maximizing your youth age? Wikipedia defines the youth as the time when someone is young. It often means the time between childhood and adulthood. But I would want to use the word youth as an acronym to ask you a very few questions. Why in the word youth stands for young? It is the time that you are very young as a person. What are you doing at that very young age? O in the word youth stands for observation. It is a time when you become very observant of your environment. When you observe things in your environment, when you observe things around you, what do you make of them? Do you think things or you observe things that you need to make changes on, and you still live with that? You have to become very observant at this very age and make good use of that. The next letter in youth is U, and it stands for undefined. At this very age in time, you are not supposed to get into any sexual relationship as a young person until you become married. The next letter in youth is T, and the T stands for thinking. As a youth, your thinking faculty is working very, very well. And I want to ask, what are you doing with your brain at this stage in life? Pastor David Ibiome said, and I quote, "To make gains in life, you must put your brain to work." The Bible also says, "Come now, let us to reason together." At this very age in time, you become very useful with your brain. Think on how to make life become useful to you in the very few years from now. And the very last letter in the word youth is H. And H stands for hygiene consciousness. John Wesley in his 1778 sermon said, and I quote, "Cleanliness is next to godliness. As a youth, you ought to be very clean and not as dirty as a pig." God bless you. Stay engaged. Come with me. Let's ask some people what they think about the youth age. Hello, my name is Mark Miracle from the Youth Engage Show, and we are talking about maximizing the youth age. I am standing with Mr. John. I'm very pleased to have you here today, sir.
Thank you.
Please, what would you say about the youth age? What are you doing to maximize your youth age?
Okay, to me, I see maximizing my youth age as kind of, finding something meaningful,
Yes.
you understand, to engage in. As to even the Bible has recorded it that we should serve the Lord in our youthful age.
Yeah.
So you're neither here nor there. Maximizing your youth age is either you're working or you're not working.
Yes.
But if you're working, you're actually fulfilling God's purpose for mankind.
Right work.
Yes,
Right work.
yes. So if you're actually doing the right work,
Yes.
which is expected of you at the youthful age, I think you're maximizing your youth age.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing anything, that means you're actually trying to, they said, an idle mind is devil's workshop, you understand? So at your youthful age, if you're idle doing nothing, you're likely to go into restive activities,
Yes.
you understand? So to me and my own perception about maximizing youth age, I see maximizing youth age as engaging oneself in meaningful activities, you understand? You could actually serve God as well. Work in the house of the Lord. You might not necessarily work for payment, but anything that will engage you, that will take your time out of devilish activities. That's my
Finally,
point.
what do you have to say to the youths who are out there complaining about the government, complaining about their parents who haven't done quite a lot for them? What would you have to advise them?
Truthfully, we were born without the government.
Yes.
You understand? And I personally want to encourage every one of us who are youths to find something little, no matter how little it might be. Even over the recent times now, government has solely emphasized on entrepreneurial skills and other activities that could actually improve the economy outside government. So I'm encouraging the youth to involve in entrepreneurial skills. There are so many things one can actually engage in without depending on government. You understand? So to me, entrepreneurial skills is essence.
Thank you. It's a nice time with you. God bless you.
You're welcome.
I'm standing with Mr. Victor. Mr. Victor, sir, what do you understand by maximizing your youth age?
What I understand by maximizing your youth age is doing, greater things, doing exceedingly, and then also seeing how you could help yourself and the society at large.
Yes. Now, what are those few things you've done or you see people do that you think that they are doing well, so that in the next 50 years from now, you don't complain?
Like myself, I'm into investment. Yes, that has been my dream right from time because I love it great. And I've also seen the lives of some people like Robert Kiyosaki and other big men like that who have made it big in life.
Yes.
I read about them and I also understand that they've engaged into sowing into the future.
Yes.
By investing. Yes. So I believe in investing and then also see how.
Some people out there, not quite a lot of them, but some are lying there, blaming their predicaments on the government and on their parents.
Sure.
What would you say about this if any of such person is watching now?
I think I want to encourage them to see how they could move from their comfort zone and fight for their life, because the trend now is depression everywhere. You hear young people getting themselves involved in suicide. That's not the best.
Yes.
My little advice is that place you are, you can start something from there.
Yes.
Not minding how little it is, not minding how the area will be at that moment. Just believe on yourself, see how you could solve one problem. By solving that problem, you will get to solve two problems. And then that person you are solving a problem for will get to introduce another person to you, and that's how you get to.
That's a very nice one with you. God bless you, sir.
Thank you so much.
My name is Edibal Ekesbe. This is Youth Engage on Salvation TV. Keep watching.
My name is Godfrey Kocha. This is Youth Engage program, and I encourage every youth to watch Salvation TV for this Youth Engage program. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dr. Enu Maifilua. This is Youth Engage on Salvation TV. Keep watching.
Welcome to Youth Engage.
Youth Engage, showing on Salvation TV.
It was an awesome time in the streets, and it's about that time I introduce you to my wonderful guest in the house, Dr. Ezenwa Dena. You're welcome, Daddy.
Thank you very
Please,
much.
I want to appeal to you. You have to pardon me. At some point in time, I might refer to my guest as Daddy, because I really want to pour out this fatherly advice from him today. And we are talking about maximizing the youth age. And I want to bring the first question to my guest today. Daddy, please, what can you say about the word youth? We have given our definition of whom a youth is, but from the father aspect, we want to know whom a youth is.
Well, a youth has various definitions based on the objective. If you look at the dictionary, the Oxford Dictionary, it will say it is a period between childhood and adult age. Now, organizations like the United Nations also have definition for youth, and they say anybody that is within the age bracket of 18 to 24 years. Of course, in Nigeria, all citizens between the age of 18 and 35 are classified as youth.
Yeah.
But of course, we know our daddy, our Papa, Papa Ibieme, he says anybody who is less than 100 years old is a youth. That is being backed up by the scriptures, Isaiah 65 and verse 20.
Yeah.
Where it says a child dies, at 100.
Yeah. So, Daddy, I want to ask this very, very important question. We do know that a child must die at 100. So, from 1 to 100, scripturally, we are youths. Now, I don't want to downplay the fact that from 1 to 100, we are youths. That is right, scripturally. But preparing for the life ahead, I would want to be referring from the age of 20 to 30. Now, how do you think the boys and the girls watching now between this age bracket, what do you think that they can do to make sure that this youth age is being maximized? Before we get to the age of 30, what do you think that we can do to ensure that this age bracket is being maximized youthfully?
Thank you. Well, being a youth or in the young age is a very exciting period. And we would like to translate that excitement into something positive that will be useful to the youth as they get older.
Yes.
Now, when we understand our origin, that we are created by God and He has a purpose for us, then it is important to keep within that purpose, to have a link with God. And that link comes by giving our lives to Christ, to be born again. And that is the starting point. So once that is done, that will now shape our lifestyle, in terms of who we associate with, how we talk, what we read, what we watch, and those things have an influence on our lives. And if we then say, fine, Christ came, He set the example, and we're to follow that example. Then if all the youths will follow that example, even as they get to adulthood, we now begin to have a transition of people that, yes, will have character that can be emulated by younger ones, and then begin to build a good society. So the starting point is being born again. Yes. And then you have what does it mean, to be born again? In terms of character, you have to develop. In terms of honesty, you have to be true. Okay. In terms of integrity, those are the qualities that we'll be looking for. You want to do something. How well do you do it? Okay. You must apply the spirit of excellence in it, so that it can stand out. Others can look at it. You can impact lives that way. Wherever you are, whether it's in an organization or in church, in a fellowship, and even in society, by talking to others, you can now begin to transform other people and bring them in. Once they can see the good lifestyle that you live, they can talk to others and then begin to follow you into the church and fellowship. One should not miss that. Serve God. Soul winning, is an important aspect that you can also impact life, apart from being a commandment to us. So these are the things that one can cultivate to make sure
that as long as the rule of seed time and harvest cannot be downplayed. Still in this age bracket, you mentioned quite a lot of positive things we should emulate as youths to make sure the age is actually maximized. What are the things you think a youth can engage in this age that would play negatively in the future?
Well, when you look at the age bracket, that you define it between the 20s and the 30s. Now, those are impressionable years. And you're getting very probably the person is already in a tertiary institution. And nowadays, people are involved in cultism. That has a very negative impact. And people should try and keep away. And once you can remain focused on why you went to the university and who is helping you, depending on the Holy Spirit to guide you, retain your focus on the subject area that you are studying, then I'm making sure that you apply yourself in reading and looking up. You also have a mentor, somebody you can look up to that has been successful, and you can follow that trend. You can read his books, you can look at the tapes and of such persons, whatever they have put out. That goes into looking into the mind of that individual.
Daddy, talking about reading books and listening to tapes,
Yes.
I was reading some article written by Miles Moore of blessed memory about some things youth must do before they attain the age of 30 or before marriage. He was talking about that you must read certain number of books. There is some other article, he said you must know how to drive, you must know certain things. These are physical things. You've touched on the spiritual area, but as a father, if it's your child of 20s to be here with you, what fatherly advice would you give to the child and say, hey boy, hey girl, I want you to be able to do this before your age, before 30. I want you to be able to do this. Now, in the society, let's be physical now. What are those things you think everyone should be able to have attained before the age of 30?
Well, the number one, when you're talking about the scriptures,
Yeah.
even Papa has told us a number of times
Yes.
that you have to create a vision, a picture of yourself,
Yes.
what you want to be,
Yeah.
when you are, as you get, as you grow
Yes.
and advance in age, whether it's 20 or 30 or, even beyond.
Yes.
Now, and that picture is created from scriptures. And then you begin to, work at it. Okay. So you must have a vision,
Yes.
what you want to be
In life.
in life. How are you going to, get there? Who has been successful in getting there
As a role model.
as a role model?
Yeah.
And then you look up to that, and then you begin to, work at it. Cut out all the distractions.
Negative influences.
Yes. You say technological age, you have your
Yes.
the mobile phones, the WhatsApp, and all that, social media. You cut out all those, and you retain focus.
Yeah.
And as you go along, then, as a parent, yes, you have a responsibility in terms of guiding.
Yes.
Okay? Also saying, well, look at, what does the child do, or what does the youth do during his free times or during vacation? Okay, is he watching, some crazy movie on television or something? So you should be interested in that.
Yes.
What kind of company is your child, keeping? Okay.
Okay, it's getting interesting by the moment, I must say. How can a youth unleash his or her potentials? We will talk about this when we come back. Let's take a short break.
My name is Educative Ekesipif. This is Youth Engage on Salvation TV. Keep watching.
My name is Godfrey Kocha. This is Youth Engage program, and I encourage every youth to watch Salvation TV for this Youth Engage program. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dr. Enlightening. This is Youth Engage on Salvation TV. Keep watching.
My God, supply all your needs. Like David Ibiomir to receive daily prayers and prophecies live on Facebook. Like and follow only David Ibiomir's official verified account. Remember, always look out for the verified icon.
My God, bless you in the name of Jesus.
Welcome to Youth Engage.
Youth Engage, showing on Salvation TV.
You're welcome back from that very short break. At the Youth Engage show, we do not just discuss problems, as we look out for ways to provide pragmatic solutions to the issues that affect the youth in today's society. Before we took the break, I said we are going to talk about how to unleash the potentials in the youth. Now, books have revealed that great people like Dr. Ben Carson, Pastor David Ibiomir, Adeboyes, Oyedepos, and all the rest had one time in their life told themselves the truth. This is what I want to be in life. And they sacrificed other things. Pastor David Ibiomir sacrificed the pleasure of Lagos to come and establish the kingdom of God right from this point, Port Harcourt, to the ends of the world. Pastor W.F. Kumuyi sacrificed becoming a mathematician, the professor of mathematics in the university, to become a pastor. Dr. Ben Carson listened to the mother when the mother had to advise him that he had the gene of greatness in him. Do I want to talk about Oprah Winfrey and all the rest? These ones had one time or the other unleashed the potentials in them. And the question I want to bring to my wonderful guest again is, how can we unleash these great potentials in us?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Well, let me modify the word, unleash.
Yeah.
That may look like doing something, with force.
Yeah.
You can relate. But let's tone it down to say release.
Release. Okay.
Now, what is potential? It is some innate or hidden ability within one that, if developed, can lead to successful life and some usefulness to humanity.
Yeah.
And so it is one for the person to know that he or she has that potential for something. Now, this can come about in terms of what he or she does. Let's say, for example, you have somebody that can arrest an audience by the way he talks. And then if you encourage him, he cannot be a good communicator, and he can go on to develop, along those lines, and have communication business in terms of presentations, in terms of public speaking and all that. You can have also a house help or a house girl, and the way she will organize the house, prepare things without much supervision, then you recognize that yes, she has that potential to. She can become a decorator. She can run an event center.
Or management expert and
exactly. So these are some things. Or if somebody even singing has a voice,
yes,
okay, and can become a well-known singer, develop it.
Yes.
So that is an area in which that individual can go ahead to develop that potential. It can also be pointed out, maybe the person might not know, and has a third party, somebody outside, who looks and sees, this person can be good in this area, and therefore tells the person, and if there is any assistance that individual can lend to that person to grow in that area, that would be good.
Most persons, most youths actually discover these things, that they are good with this, good with that. But would I be wrong to say that sometimes the economic, social, religious, and environmental factors sometimes tell it down on them that they don't know how to run with this potential, run with this vision? Would you give some practical steps to guide the youth on how to build upon something that they have seen that they would be good with?
Okay. Well, you can be good at a number of things. But the degree to which you can advance it may be different.
Yes.
So you now have to make a selection. You don't want to be a master of all and not achieve anything.
Yeah.
And so you need to prioritize the things. And that will now determine which one that you will pursue.
Yes.
And if you're going to pursue it, it requires, you have to maintain a focus.
Yes.
You have an objective in mind. You have to maintain that focus and that commitment to carry it through, so that whatever steps are required, developing, the strategies, okay, to say, what does it take, to become, if it's a singer, it has to go to voice training and all that. He has to, practice on his or her own.
Yes.
Some self-development. There's a formal training. There is
personal
self-development. That individual, but he has to remain committed to make sure that the objective is achieved.
Okay. The demands on the 21st century today differ from that of the previous centuries, judging from the vast technological advancement. And how can we maintain balance spiritually and morally in this compromising time? This is what we are going to talk about when we return from this very short break.
Our pillar provides support for structure. The book Success Pillar is an exposition of the ingredients that makes kingdom success predictable and obtainable. In this book, David Ibiomie delivers the secrets of his success stories to the reader. However, the high points shared in this book includes dream, faith, prayer, pursuit, integrity, and excellence. Your success is guaranteed when you apply these principles in your life. Use the information on your screen to order for your copy or visit any leading bookstore near you.
You're welcome back from that short break. How can we maintain a balance so we don't compromise spiritually and morally in these testing times? I wouldn't be totally wrong to say that your youth age and my youth age are totally different socially, technology-wise, and all the rest. But we still need to maintain that balance spiritually. What would you say to this effect, sir?
Well, we have so many things around that can be a distraction.
Yeah.
And we need to be aware of them. You have the social media.
Yes.
A number of things, Twitter, WhatsApp, Facebook, the rest of them. Okay. And a number of us, or a number of the youth, spend time, looking at all this YouTube and all that, and the useful time to be spent on anything else is reduced. So you don't want to get engaged in activities that will become time-consuming. Time is a resource.
Yes.
And it will waste time, and what you have to do any productive work becomes very small.
Yes.
You can't advance very much. So it is important to cut out that. The same thing with our mobile phones. The people using the mobile phone, focusing and discussing all day and achieving nothing. So we need to be disciplined. And that discipline will require, in terms of knowing what time to do what. Again, let me repeat, in terms of the company that you keep, the things that you watch, the things that you read, and the things that you listen to. See, what you put in your mind, reflects on what you say and your actions. So one has to be extremely careful and get yourself disciplined. That yes, this is a time. There is time to study. There's a time to play. There's a time to do this, and give yourself targets so that you can begin to check out what progress you are making on the road to success. And without that, it will be difficult. So cut out anything that will be, a distraction. And perhaps what one might want to do, the scripture, Philippians 4 and verse 8, gives advice on what our minds should be occupied with. And Papa calls it the thinking syllabus.
The ticking clock has decided not to remain our friend. Since the time is no longer on our side, I would want to ask Daddy that you give a final advice to every youth out there watching.
Well, my advice is that they need to be close to God. Give their lives to Christ and keep in touch, read the Bible, follow the instructions, attend fellowship, be engaged in promoting the kingdom of God, and God will also be working for them. And at the end, as it says in Joshua 1:8, you will have good success.
What else and what exclamation could I add more to such an educative moment as this? At the Youth Engage show, we try as much as possible to bring in the problem, then profile pragmatic solutions. If you had followed us from the beginning to this moment, I'm sure you have learned one or two things on how to maximize your youth age. Pastor David Ibiomie said, and I quote, "Lazy people discuss problems, while creative people discuss solutions." I am sure you have learned quite a lot of the things our guest has been able to profile on today's episode of Youth Engage. Please do find the time again to follow us next week same station, same time. My name still remains Mark Miracle, the anchor of Youth Engage on Salvation TV. Do stay engaged.
That's why he went to school.
So I think the problem is coming from the youth.
The people that rule this country, they are still the people today.
It is the youth who know well enough of today that can take charge of tomorrow.